Good morning, everybody. I'd like to read you a story that was actually written by the illustrator of the Twits. So as we know, Roald Dahl wrote the Twits some time ago, and his illustrator, who created all the wonderful drawings that we've been looking at throughout the story, was a man named Quentin Blake. Now, he illustrated this version of the Twits in 1980. When I was just 9 years old, and this is the book that is narrated on YouTube that we've been referring to throughout our learning. Now, later on, when you were just in reception, I believe, or about then, perhaps a little bit earlier, this is a 2018 version of the same story with Mugglewump down there. Again, Quentin Blake was the illustrator, but just made it that little bit more modern. But he is a super illustrator of all sorts of books, including some for adults. This is a book that I love to read, and it really, I like it. It appeals to me because it has a real spirit of adventure, but not too dangerous of adventure, a sensible adventure in some ways, because it's two friends going off together and having an explore, but looking after each other. So let's have a read, shall we? So this was written by Quentin Blake as well as illustrated. The Green Ship by Quentin Blake. I can remember very clearly, even now, what it was like when we climbed over the wall into the garden of the big house. We knew we weren't supposed to, but we had been staying with our aunt for a fortnight already, and we were beginning to feel bored, so we were on the lookout for an adventure. So there they are. Okay, so it may be a brother and sister if they're staying with her aunt, mightn't it? For 2 weeks they've been with her. Over the wall, it wasn't much like the kind of garden we were used to, more like a park or even a forest. We can't be explorers, Alice said, crashing into the undergrowth. I wonder what we shall discover. The trees were huge and covered with ivy. It was really very like a jungle. We plunged deeper and deeper into it, and we thought we were completely lost, when, all at once, we pushed aside a screen of branches and saw something absolutely astonishing. It was a ship. At least, it wasn't a real ship, but you could see it was meant to be a ship. Bushes had been cut into the shape of the bows and stern, and 2 trees trimmed to look like funnels. On either side of these there were 2 tall, thin trees, with not many branches that were obviously meant to be the masts. Then Alice said, "Come on, there's nobody about. Let's get a look at it." So there we go. There we have the tall, thin trees, masts. Looks to me like the funnel is there. And then we have the stern and the bow. Towards the back of the ship, there was also something like a tree house or a small garden shed perched on top of an ancient tree stump. A set of wooden steps led up to it, and we climbed them and went in. They're braver than me. I'd have been a bit nervous about that. Inside, there was a wheel with spokes that stuck out, just as if it was a proper ship. And on a little shelf there was a telescope, and next to it a photo in a brown wooden frame of a man in uniform. From the roof hung an old lantern, and through the windows you could see for miles. You could almost believe you were at sea. And then, suddenly, we were taken by surprise by a voice which said, "Well, what have we here, bosun? Stowaways?" Do look a little surprised there, don't they? There was a thin lady in a dark dress looking up at us. "What do you think, bosun? Shall we clap them in irons?" "Only youngsters," said the bosun, who actually looked more like a gardener. "Swabbing the decks is the thing, if you ask me. And after that, perhaps we shall have tea on deck." So, there are the owners of the ship. Swabbing the decks turned out to be sweeping away the leaves. But tea really was tea with Madeira cake and cucumber sandwiches. And at the end of it, Mrs. Tredegar, that was her name, said, "The boatswain will see you ashore. And why not come aboard again tomorrow? I'm sure that's what the captain would have wished." So there we go. There are our two explorers actually doing a great job of sweeping up those leaves and then having a reward of some sandwiches and cake and tea. That sounds like quite a lovely way to spend a morning, I would say. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far, and let's read on tomorrow and find out exactly who this captain was and the tale of the ship and how it came to be in that magical garden. I do hope you have a good day, and I'm finding it very strange reading to you and you not being with me, but I'm really trying to use my imagination that we are together, and I hope that you've enjoyed the story today. Take care. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.